to Daryl just real quickly. Daryl, welcome to the Mark Cox Show.
Well, since I don't want to delay anything, since we're expecting a guest, I'll go as quickly as I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're not in St. Louis anymore. We're in Texas, okay? And then Hillary Clinton wins this election, and then we hear she's coming after our guns. Now, I base this on stuff that I've read, not just any sort of personal motivation. But people in Texas are talking about secession. So, now, as crazy as that sounds, I need everyone to keep one thing in mind. 1 year ago, that sounded pretty crazy too.
Yes.
So,
yes.
The kind of fun I would like to have with this is, okay, let's say we're looking at a bloodless revolution, and then the fun I think we can have in talking about it is, all right, so what are we saying? Different currencies, different maybe shared military, different constitutions? What are we talking about here in terms of logistics? Because from what I've read, it's a real thing that there is a faction that want to do this.
Yeah, Daryl, it's a major concern. They were just talking about this morning on Fox News about how ammo sales are skyrocketing right now because of the fear of a Clinton presidency. Look, this would be 12 years straight of left-wing ideology, progressivism in our nation's capital running the show. So, Daryl, it's not a crazy concern. People are very concerned about this, which amazes me that there's so many people on the conservative side that would rather cast their lot with Hillary Clinton. It baffles me. It baffles the mind. So
Trump is dead. Well, I am in the boat that says it is two evils, but there is a lesser of two evils, and Trump is that, and it's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. It's the fact of the matter right now, and so and I say Texas because we've been taught that since we were children.
Yep.
If there's going to be secession, Texas is going to lead the way.
Hey, Daryl, great points. Hey. I got to roll. Thank you so much for calling the show. Really appreciate it. We'll now go to my good friend, State Senator Bob Onder. Bob, how you doing?
I am doing great. Good afternoon, Tim.
Yeah, Bob, great to have you. Good to talk to you in the afternoon instead of at like 6 a.m. for once. How about that?
That's for sure.
So, Bob, I want to add. There's a lot I want to get to. We got plenty of time. We got 7-8 minutes here. Which is light years in radio. And so let's start off with the fact that and I'll challenge you a little bit on this because you and I have had this discussion offline. And there were 4 candidates running for Missouri governor, and one of them was going to win, and Eric Greitens was the successful candidate, but 65% of the Republican electorate voted for somebody else. So, Bob, tell me how you got to the point where you're now out there stumping for Eric Greitens. Why do you believe he should be our next governor?
Well, you're very right, Tim. We had 4 excellent candidates for Missouri governor. And in all honesty, many of us who had been involved in the political scene for a while knew the other 3 very well and didn't know Eric hardly at all a year ago. So it's natural that some of the folks, myself included, who had supported another candidate, were a little reluctant to come around to our Republican nominee, Eric Greitens. But Eric, I think when we look at Eric's candidacy for governor, we've got to compare him to his opponent, Chris Koster. Eric Greitens is an outsider. He's a conservative reformer. He's dedicated his life to public service. He served our country as a Navy SEAL. His missionary work, his work in the Bush White House, his founder of the Veterans Charity Mission Continues. All of those things stand in stark contrast to his opponent, Chris Koster, who's been a career politician, was once a Republican, but now is a quite liberal Democrat. Expanding Obamacare is Chris Koster's number one priority. He's completely denounced the cause of innocent human life and now has a 100% rating from NARAL and from Planned Parenthood. Chris is against tort reform. He's against labor reform. Eric, on the other hand, is pro-life. He'll fight Obamacare. He will lead the state forward in the economic arena with labor reform and tort reform. I think just anyone who's serious about the future of our state, certainly every Republican really ought to be supporting Eric for governor.
So Bob, the question that I get sometimes, and that has been the statement I get from many Republicans is, well, we just don't know Eric Greitens. How can we trust him? And with Chris Koster, yes, there's a lot of things wrong with him, but they'll say that the famous catchphrase, "The devil you know is better than the devil you don't." So I understand you've gotten to know Eric. And you've gotten to know him well. And so I guess what would you say to folks who have that opinion that I just don't know Eric? I've heard a lot of questionable things about him. Yeah. How have you gotten to know him? What do you think of him now that you've known him better than you did 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah, no, I've spoken to Eric extensively. I've asked him a lot of tough questions, and I've heard him speak numerous times. Looked at his policy positions that he's put in writing in a number of different venues. And he has really committed to the conservative agenda. He is committed to not only signing right to work into law, but to leading the charge. He's committed to not only signing pro-life bills, but to take a lead in defending innocent human life and promoting alternatives to abortion. He will take the lead on improving our legal climate. So Eric is one of us. I think a lot of people say, well, Chris Koster used to be one of us. Well, he used to be one of us until he sold us out. I think I sometimes say Chris Koster used to be one of us the way Judas used to be an apostle. He completely repudiated the principles of the Republican Party and sold out to the labor bosses and the trial lawyers. I think, although people don't know Eric as well, he is going to be a solid conservative reformer governor.
Speaking to Missouri State Senator Bob Onder. Bob, there's been a lot of polling that has come out on this race and on every other race in the state. The polling has really fluctuated. It's sort of it's been a wild year. That's probably putting it mildly. So where do you see the race right now with being as close as you are to the campaign, being as close as you are to a lot of these political folks that you see and probably talk to every day? How close is the race for Missouri governor?
Yeah, I think it's very close. And more importantly, the momentum's going in the right direction. The Monmouth poll that the Post-Dispatch published a month ago showed Eric Greitens 11 points down. Last week, the same polling firm showed what the Post-Dispatch called a startling reversal, which only had Eric down 3 points, which was in the margin of error. I've seen another poll that has it even closer than that. So I think it's going to be very close. And the important thing, as with the presidential race, as with the very, very important Senate race where we need to reelect Roy Blunt, is that Republicans cannot get and conservatives and independents who care about the future of our state can't get discouraged and stay home. We really need every vote, and we need people. And Eric needs our help to get out those votes. Our family, our friends, folks at church, folks in the workplace that we that care about the future of our state.
Absolutely. Speaking to Missouri State Senator Bob